Hey athletes, and welcome back to another Mobility Monday. One of the many things that Bo and I hear from our clients and athletes that travel a lot is they feel a lot of tightness in their hip flexors. They try to stretch as best they can, but sometimes stretching won't be enough. So if there is a lot of glued down tissue, otherwise known as fascia, all that stuff that wraps around our muscles, if that is just glued down and does not want to move, using one of these foam balls or one of the foam rolls can be really beneficial to help to restore and replenish all that hydration that's been lost to increase function. So what I'm going to use today is the foam ball on our psoas specifically. This is a very, very deep muscle, so it's going to need a little bit less surface area. That's why I like to use the ball. And we'll move to the ground so that I can show you a little bit deeper how to use that. All right, so our psoas, it's hard to get to, so the best landmark you can use is that bony protrusion on your hip. It's that crest right there. Most of you can feel it right on either side. You'll take that ball, you put the foam ball right inside that hard bone, and what you'll feel is a little bit soft spot somewhere in between that bone and the belly button. So once you've found that, you're gonna move to the ground. And for most folks, that's gonna be enough. Typically that area is very, very sensitive. If you need to start to reach a little bit deeper, you can start to lift that back leg, squeezing through the glute, always trying to make sure that you keep a very, very steady breath and slowly just pumping that leg up and down, trying to restore and rehydrate all that tissue that's been locked up from a lot of sitting, biking, running, swimming, if it hasn't really been moved outside of that range of motion. Once you spend about 30 seconds in that area, you can switch to the other side. Again, for most folks, it may be beneficial to try and find a different spot by moving around on the foam roll. So you'll have to spend a little bit of time exploring your body and learning where that tension is being kept. So after you've melted that tissue or you've used some sort of soft tissue device like a foam roll or a foam ball, then you're gonna start to move into the actual stretch. So I like to use this just if I'm feeling a little bit extra tight before I start doing any sort of loaded movement. All you'll need is a stretch band and a PVC pipe. Once you get your stretch band, you'll hook it up to some form of anchor. It can be a fence, it can be the stretch cage. Step through the band. You want to try to pull the band up near the top of that hip joint. You grab the PVC pipe. The banded knee is going to be stacked underneath your hip, which is going to be stacked underneath your shoulders. The opposite foot is going to be planted out in front. That way we get a little bit of separation there in the pelvis. All this band is going to do is serve as a distraction for the femur as I start to drive my hands overhead and hopefully start to lift my rib cage and drive my spine into extension. So once I have my PVC pipe in both hands, I reach straight up. I start to drive my hips forward, reaching my arms up as tall as possible, and then coming back down. Reaching up, driving forward, coming back down. You can even add a little bit of rotation at the top, or a little bit of lateral flexion where I lean my shoulders side to side. It's really important that when you get into this stretch, you try to limit any extension to the hip and to the thoracic cavity, meaning you're not arching at your low back. If you get into this, all you will feel is a really compressed disc, and that's not gonna feel very good at all. All right, for our last part, once we've melted the tissue using some sort of soft tissue device and molded the tissue using some sort of stretch, I like to move the tissue. So using some sort of external load, like a Viper or a barbell, is a pretty good idea before you start to exercise. That way, the tissue is not just being moved in isolation, but is now being implemented in a dynamic movement itself. So once I have the Viper in both hands, I'm going to perform an anterior lunge and start to drive my arms in a similar fashion with the PVC pipe. So I'll start by keeping the Viper up my shoulders. As I go into my lunge, I press the Viper over my head, again trying to pick up the rib cage, extend through the shoulders, adding a sinking motion down to the ground, and really trying to feel a big stretch all the way through that connective tissue in the anterior hip. I can alternate legs, adding the reach up top, bringing the Viper back down, adding the reach up top, bringing the Viper back down. Try to keep a slight bend in your back leg, and always try to keep that extension limited to the T-spine. Because our spine, specifically the thoracic spine, does not like to go into hyperextension, if you feel as though you're leaning back too far, just double check and make sure that you're not hyperextending at the low back, which is a common compensation. Again, with this movement, you can start to drive in a rotational plane where you're going away from the knee, towards the knee, or even stepping and reaching the Viper in the frontal plane as you lunge. I want to thank y'all again for tuning in to these 4-part hip series. We'll be sure to link the other 3 videos in the section below. If you have any questions, need any assistance, go ahead and find Bo or myself, and we'll be happy to help you guys. As we continue forward, we're going to move away from the hip and start to move further up the body, continuing to explore how to best improve our front squat. That will be our new strength movement moving into the next 6 weeks. So stay tuned for videos that will help you improve performance both in the gym and in whatever discipline or athletic endeavor that you partake in. That's Mobility Monday. We'll see you next week.
Is that how you want to start out?
No. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Dang it. I had it before, but then
Wait,
you
you
messed
know
it
what?
up. This
You know what?
only happens when you mess up first.